this side? Okay, let's take this first round and then we'll take the final round. In that order, I think the protocol colleagues know it.
Desmond down here from ENCA. I think thank you to the city manager for also explaining, I think, and also answering some of what I was going to ask. But just from what I've drawn from the briefing, I think it was you, Mr. Mayor, that you mentioned that there were 2 failed applications in 2022 and 2023. So what I want to find out is, when you are confronted with a situation like that, it tells me that someone is desperate to get a structure going because there were two attempts. Having failed the first time and they try again. I imagine that's not unique to this case. There must be others where you have a situation like that. Is there a system in place, or is there a mechanism in place where when someone tries more than once to get an application approved that it isn't, then it's perhaps red flagged, and then your inspections team, and I say this without maybe fully understanding how your team works, where it's red flagged and we say, okay, let's look at this place in a year or in 2 years to see if anything was flouted and if there was a structure that came up. I'm purely asking if a system like that exists or not, because there must be many people who are trying to get structures up and then decide, look, I'm just going to put it up anyway, and we'll only find out about it when there's a collapse like this one. So maybe that's the first part. I think we spoke about this at the scene around the issue of manpower when it comes to these types of inspections that we are talking about. Fully cognizant of what you've explained now, all of you have explained now, and the value chain as you've called it. But just on I suppose on a really high level, are there people moving around in various areas, maybe choosing an area this week, going around looking at construction in those places and saying, look, these ones are approved, these ones are not approved. Again, does that exist? Is there enough manpower for something like that? And then this one I'm not sure who may handle among all of you, but on Friday when we were there and when the search and rescue operation was closed up, I think it was at about 9:10. Some of the whispers that we were hearing from people that were the first responders that were there was that there were issues around the actual equipment that they were using. Someone mentioned to me, and I just want to verify this, that's why I'm asking. There was an issue with equipment using batteries, and they were running out of batteries, and they didn't have powerful enough equipment on site at the time. These are some of the things that could have caused challenges in relation to how quickly they move. So I want to find out, as part of this investigation, if you've established if that was a problem at all, relating to how they attacked the disaster area in front of them. And then maybe this might come from the technical team. When it comes to a structure like this, or when you're building, or you are looking for approval, and then you want to build a structure of any kind. I haven't personally gone through this process of building something. That's why I think I just want clarity and maybe a simplified version of how it works. So can the person, or in this case the trustees, if you're looking at a temple like this, can they be exonerated in any way from the liability? When they say, if someone were to say, I paid 5 million to this contractor or this person, and the entire process from that point onwards is handled by them, can they escape liability in any way? And if that is the case, if you can just maybe take me through how that works so that we understand if it will always come back to the person, and what are the legal implications then if someone is found to have flouted that. And again, now in this case, you find that there were failed approvals, but they go through with it anyway, and then people die in a structure like that. Do we have a history of people actually being facing the legal implications of that? How serious are they? I hope that that summarizes.
Thank you. Chris?
My name is Dean. I'm with SABC Radio News. I want to qualify that I'm asking this question as a complete layperson, looking in from the outside without knowledge of the sector and the industry. But if we look at Tongaat Mall, the George flats, and now this temple, it seems as if people are not brought to book. Tongaat Mall, the findings were handed over to the NPA over 8 years ago. Nothing has happened. George, things happened a lot faster. I think within a year there were findings about the NHVRC, the council for the engineering council held a disciplinary against that person, and he was found guilty and fined. And I saw a media report that the police investigation is far advanced, and there may be a court case next year. Two questions. How are we holding these people to account? Secondly, is the system perhaps not fragmented? The speakers touched on it. But I see a lot of different role players doing a lot of different things. But do the people actually end up in court? That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Sorry?
It's Kila from Newslook Africa. I think I'm just going to continue from our colleague here. My question, Minister, was regards to the George collapse building. You've been making reference to it. And it was really to get a sense of an update with regards to making sure that accountability is actually enforced there, because it was also handed over to the SABC for investigations, just to get a sense of where we are now with regards to that.
Thank you. I'll hand over to the Minister and the panel to respond.
Thanks very much. I'll focus on Dries and Pila's question. I think that for as long as people aren't brought to book, that there is very little incentive to comply. Now, I hold a view that if people die through negligence, that is criminal. And there should be criminal consequences for that. And that's why we are so determined to protect the integrity of the George investigation, because 34 people cannot die on a site and there be no consequences, or you just lose your license as an engineer or an architect or whatever. No society can accept that sort of response to that sort of tragedy. And there have been many people that have, whether they're political parties or commentariats or whoever, that have pressured us to release the George report in all of its technical detail at the expense and compromising the investigation. And we won't do that. We cannot do that, because I'm not going to see people achieve a few headlines so that others can then walk off scot-free. And so I have to commend the manner in which the SAPS have approached the George investigation. That's why we called on the police minister to allow those investigators to come here now, because they have been so thorough and so technical in their investigation. Because in some way, I think that the George tragedy will be a precedent setting in how we deal with collapses like this. So we've got to get it right. And I think that if we get it right, that then will inform the possible culpability in this tragedy. And so only through consequences and holding people accountable is part of the reform agenda that we want to see in the built environment. So again, 5 people have died. It cannot just be, oh well, you know, people will get a fine or be let off the hook. Where there is culpability, criminal charges must follow. The big problem that we face in the built environment is that the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is the custodian of the built environment. Yet the built environment is fragmented across different departments within national government, within municipalities, and that is, we are now seeing a recipe for disaster. It's a total recipe for disaster. And so our view is that there's got to be a one-stop shop for the building environment in public works and infrastructure. And part of the recommendations that the George report makes is exactly that regulations and legislation that is found in other departments must be transferred to public works. But now, that's obviously a cabinet decision, and we will be taking that consolidated report to cabinet, and we will make that point that we've got to have the entire view of the construction environment, as well as being able to have a direct line of sight and approach with local government that is charged with approving plans, rezoning, etc. So I think that adequately answers both the question of both Dries and Pilar, and how we want to ensure that people don't just walk away scot-free. I'll allow the others to answer those other questions.
Sorry.
When I was a bit slimmer, I
You could jump.
Not for that long to jump.
Okay.
You can jump forward.
My apologies.
No, they know. I was once their size. Before I moved to Pretoria, they know. Okay, over to you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am answering Dessen. I did indicate that the farm itself is 8.5 hectares in extent, and the city manager has indicated that there are about 6 building plans that were approved for the site, and I also reported that in the last 2 years, in 22-23, 2 were turned down, and because what you call the construction was going to take place on insensitive environment, and but the construction site itself and did not have building plans submitted for it. But I must say that if you consider that there were building plans that were approved, and so submitted, let me say submitted, 6 approved, 2 turned down, and that doesn't give me signs that we're dealing with people who are intent on flouting or bypassing regulations, that you can start to flag them and say that now going forward we must monitor you. I think they were doing like any other constructor who wants to build and will do. So I just want to mention that point, this thing, that it happens that people sometimes try to take chances, and that the outcomes of taking chances are this. But the point that was mentioned by Dr. Mieza as well as the Minister is that we must start now a public campaign so that people, we bring this to their attention, that these are consequences when people bypass them. Those laws are there for a good reasons, and for those who adhere to the laws, their buildings stand even today as a monument of their engineering capability, like what the Minister said the other day. So that's all what we would be emphasizing going forward. But that area doesn't, and is monitored by 3 building inspectors. It's in the Verulam area, and part of our North Office was the North Office branch. So that one in particular, and it has 3 building inspectors allocated to it. That this one fell through the crack and we couldn't pick it up, and should not be an indication or suggestive of some systemic failures and in our system. I mean, KZN, particularly Durban, has become a construction site of late, and I really welcome that. That in the last few years, and I have welcomed close to 50 billion rand worth of development projects, and starting with the 25 billion rand project in the north, and towards Umdloti, 12,000 residential units would come up there, at the hotel and other things would be developed there, and the 3.6 billion rand Beachwood estate development, and the 15 billion rand development in the Westwood. 1.5 of it is already up and running. And just the recent one, the 10 billion rand on Cato Ridge, is a logistic park that we're developing there. We want to develop a tripod in that area. So this 10 billion rand is part of a huge development that is going to happen in that area. And the cranes are all over. You know, it's exciting to be in the city to see cranes flying in a number of areas, if you come to think of the period that we have just emerged from. It means that the investors have now accepted our pleas to inject their monies into the economy, and we are doing it. And they've seen, I think, business confidence in the city has really grown. So I'm saying that there would be a lot of construction activity happening in the area. So if there is any call for strengthening, beefing up that capability, monitoring capability or inspection, that we are stand ready to do, because that would augur well for the development of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. MSC, you want to say something? Okay. Let's give one member of the technical team if there's anything to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the CEO will take the question on the equipment on site that you asked, Dyson. But just to add on what my leaders have said, yes, the minister is very correct. At some stage, we need to take very hard steps, because we are now dealing with the loss of life. And we are not only talking about a very isolated incident. As I'm saying, in certain instances, this becomes so preponderant, such that really we can no longer tolerate the extent of these collapses. One of the things we've done in the city, we have engaged the students in construction management, civil engineering, and all those disciplines, that architecture, all those disciplines that make up what a building inspector should be. We are enrolling 10 per year, females, so that we increase capacity for them to assist us in monitoring these unauthorized building works. The challenge becomes their employability, because since we started with this program back in 2012, we should be having quite a lot. Obviously, the pairs can no longer allow it, but we are now going to seek to increase the intake as we have started after our restructuring, because we can no longer tolerate this. Not that we have ever tolerated it at any point in time, but we are saying it is now a concern. But also, during the Tongat incidents, one of the things I thought of doing was to march the police and confiscate equipment on site. But I was advised that that would be tantamount to self-help and would lose the case as the city. So we have to observe the court processes. But I think we need to go back to that and see how we can amend our own laws and bylaws to ensure that we are giving powers to, particularly those sites like the shopping malls and all these things that are employing a lot of people, so that the law empowers us to go and impound the equipment so that they no longer continue to threaten people's lives. That is one quick thing that I believe we can do when we look at the law and we consult our courts. Then the issue of punitive rates is what is already working well in the city. If you are occupying an illegal establishment, particularly for business purposes, we change the rate code. We charge you 25 times. Is it 25 times? 25 times your rates, such that you no longer are able to make a profit and you close down. Not that we want to kill the jobs, but we want to protect people's lives. So if we can extend it to set up like this, I think it can go a long way. We did it through our own bylaw amendment. We didn't have to wait for the act to be amended. I think it's what we seriously would like to bring on board to assist in curtailing these things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there still appetite for the final round? I think a lot has been given, but let me just check with you, colleagues from the media. I think as it's okay. Sorry. Yeah, we can do those. I think after the equipment.
Detailed investigation.
Sorry. Yeah. So you remember that the minister has given the preliminary investigation. So there's still a final report of the detailed technical investigation that is coming. So we won't be able to exhaust all the issues here, colleagues. We are still going to come back. So I propose that we adjourn at this point.
I think you just say, Jason, just to answer your question, I don't have any reports of that. But if that is the case, of course we want to know what that is. And I'm quite sure that the MECs would be very grateful if there's an opportunity to expand their disaster response. I know MEC Buthelezi had said to me, the one thing that they've obviously realized is they need search and rescue dog capabilities. That's why they were flown up from the Western Cape. So I think that will be part of the recommendations as well going forward.
Okay. So yes, sir.
The role of SABC in flagging substandard material for building.
SABC. I think that will also come on the final investigative report. That will be detailed. It's a deeper investigation that follows after this. So can we just allow that to conclude? We'll come back. It will be in that report. So with that, I want to thank the minister. I want to thank the MEC, thank the mayor, city manager, and all the members of the technical team, and also to thank you, members of the media. It's great to see you again, and all of you in good health and good shape. We've gone through many trenches together. We want to wish you a happy festive season. We know you'll be working, but we'll be with you as well as we visit the beach to swim. Because I'm told the mayor said.
Are you doing that this year? Now there's a breaking story for you. Lennox Mabasu is going to be leading the beach swimming campaign.
With that, colleague, thank you very much. We are adjourned for today.
Thank you. All right.
We'll leave that to MEC to Mayor to summarize.
Just follow
If by mistake you've taken a camera lens, it belongs to Truly. Yeah. We don't have that. Yeah. SABC, can you talk to James? James is going to assist you.
Oh, so the manje, okay, sure.
Yeah. Sibalulekile phela abantu abafile kahle.
Just got a message from your CFO. What? Saying they're cutting me in on Friday. I'm possible. So we say for
Okay, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
yeah, man, I need to eat that.
Okay, sure.
I thought you were going
Oh, so there's 6 minutes. Sure. Umiyaza ahlale lapha emva kwakho. Okay.
Menza kodwa ngizobuza kuthini Son Morris ukuthi uhamba kahle ngeprocess Son Morris.
The mayor is just giving a lowdown. It is some of the issues here.
Oh, anisikolo uzula. Oh. What's the difference? Oh, that's all.
Okay, colleagues, yeah, so sizothatha ukuthi sicele ukuthi umeya asisummarize nje ngesizulu ukuthi besingani la bekwenzakala kuwe meya.
Yes, no, bakwethu kuzokhumbuleka ukuthi kuyoba khona inhlekelele endaweni yase Redcliffe lapho kuwe khona ibhilidi la ikhipha umphefumulo wabantu abahlanu ebebekade bedakulwa amathimba ethu wonke bekade siwaqokile kuba azokwenza lo msebenzi. Ungqongqoshe uMinister Macpherson ebamsene no MEC we province nami savumelana ukuba sizodinga ukuthi kube khona umbiko owesikhashana esiutholayo insuku ezintathu ezingakapheli. Namhlanje ke bekuzothula lo mbiko ke emfishane and okucacayo kulombiko ukuthi kukhona ongahambanga kahle and ekuyinyathelo efanele ngabe isithathwe ilaba okuyibona ebebekade bakha leli bhilidi. Okokuqala nje ukuthi kufanele bafake lokho abathi ama building plans and ayikho ibhilidi lapha eThekwini noma isakhe kufanele usakhe ngaphandle ukuthi uthole imvumo kumasipala ukuthi uqhubeke nokwakha. Kona lokho ekuvelile kulesi isikhathi sanamhlanje kwavela futhi ukuthi kuleya ndawo umhlaba nje omkhulu o8.5 hectares ngaphambilini kunama building plans approval abalela ku6 and amabili ahluleka ukuthi aphumelele bawafaka eminyangweni ahluleka ukuphumelela ngenxa yokuthi kunemqathango ebithize ebekade ingahambisani nabo bezokwakha endaweni engavunyelwa ukuthi bakhe kuyona that is environmentally sensitive. Sinawo ke ama building inspector ethu aqanise kule ndawo and sifisa ukusho ukuthi abakwazanga ukubona ukuthi kune kwakhiwa kwenzakalayo kule ndawo and ngoba uma bebekwazile ukuthi babone ukuthi kune construction eyenziwayo bebezonikeza lento ekuthiwa i-contravention notice esinikeza wonke umuntu owakha engayitholanga imvume yokwakha mase-ke simnikazi ukuthi yikuphi efanele makwenzeke. Okunye izinto esike sithi mabazenze ukuthi mabayeke ukwakha and until belandele yonke imiqathango ebekwe emthethweni efanele mayilandelwe uma uzoqala ukwakha. Namhlanje ke uqagela kuphelile ngoba sesingaconfirma ukuthi bekade ngekho ama building plans ebekade eqondene naleli bhilidi leli ebekade lakhiwa. Sibongeke bonke abatakule bebekade bekhona, sabonga amaphoyisa, sabonga i-disaster management, sabonga nalaba abezokuphepha ebekade bekhona on site ukuthi basebenze ngokuyikhandla ukuthi bonke abantu bebekade bembozekile kule ndawo bagcina bephumile ngebhadi baphume sebelahlekelwe imphefumulo wabo. Kodwa kuthela abatakule nje bebekade eqaleni bengazange bambozwe ibhilidi bona bayiswa ibhedlela base bephinde bededelwa ngoba bebekade bengenako ukulimala okukhulu. Sithi ke izehle njengalezi azinayo indawo lapha eThekwini akufanele zibe zivame ngoba indawo yomthetho lena. Bonke abantu ababonakala bephula umthetho esaqinisekisa ukuthi bohlala ngasonke isikhathi belethwa phambi komthetho ngoba lo kwenza ukuthi abafuna ukuphula umthetho baqale bebone ukuthi lapha eThekwini alifakwa. And sibe sedlulisa ke amazwi enduduzo kwabashonile and safisela laba ebebekade belimele ukuthi balulame ngokukhulu ukushesha. And sesingathatha imibuzo uma kukhona imibuzo esiZulu khona uDr Miyeza and oqhamuka uCEO we-Council for Built Environment, kube khona no city manager and walapha edolobheni ehambisana ne-team yonke ye-planning team ukuba achaze noma muphi umbuzo ekufanele ecabanga ukuthi ngaba nawo and ukusakazela umphakathi wethu. Siyabonga.
Are there any areas, colleagues, that you want covered as the mayor has spoken now? Is there any area that you want covered specifically in this issue? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Besichaza lapha ukuthi kuzoba khona izinhlelo ezizoba khona zokuqinisekisa ukuthi lolu hlobo lwezimo ezinjengalezi asiqhubeke zenzeke. Kodwa ke lezo zincomo zethu njengeTheku zizoba ingxenye ye-report ezokhishwa ungqongqoshe ukuze qinisekisa ukuthi wonke umuntu oletha izincomo ngaphambili ziyabhekwa zingabe bikho izincomo ezisala ngaphandle. Kodwa ke esifise ukucacisa kakhulu ukuthi lokho osekusemaphepeni akusilo iqiniso ukuthi kunalezi inkinga nje ngoba iTheku lihlulekile ukuphatha umsebenzi, lahluleka ukubheka ukuthi abantu abakhi la kungafanele bakhe khona. Siyakusho ukuthi cha akunjalo. iTheku likwenze konke in the last 10 years even nakula kule temple esikhuluma ngalo amanye amabhilidi nje bade chaza umeya ukuthi akuthola ukuthi athole imvume yokuthi akhiwe aze aphele aphinde futhi abe asebenziseke. Nakulezi ezinye indawo umkhandlu wawusibamba ezaqina uqinisekisa ukuthi zonke izinto ziyalandelwa, kodwa kwase kusho kona ukuthi lo msebenzi uma gajagaja unesigaba eziningi uthola ukuthi kukhona abanye nabo okufuneka badlale indima yabo. So inkantolo nazo fanele sidlale indima yazo, hilabo abaphathelene nezokongiwa kwemvelo kufanele badlale indima yabo, kube yilabo abaphathelene nokusetshenziswa kwezimvume zokusebenzisa indawo lezi ezingaba nomthelela emanzini lokuthiwa phecelezi water use license. So baningi abantu akulona iTheku kuphela kodwa lokho kubhekene neTheku iTheku cha lizibambe ezaqina la wenza kahle futhi la wenzisisa umsebenzi wabo. Besifuna nje ukucisha lo mbono osubonakala engathi uyabhebhetheka ukuthi kuleminyaka elishumi edlule amability awe ngoba naku umkhandlu weTheku bohluleka ukwenza okufanele ukwenze ngokomthetho. Okubaleke kakhulu ukuthi abantu bakithi baqonde ukuthi uma ngabe bakha ngaphandle kwemvume imvume izovikela bona uqinisekisa ukuthi bakha izakhiwo eziqinile bakha endaweni okufuze bakhe kuyona. Uma ngabe bengakwenzi lokho ibona futhi abazophinde bafaka abantu engozini yokuthi balimale njengoba sekwenzekile. Kodwa ke sizosebenzisana nemphakathi yakithi uqinisekisa ukuthi iyafundiseka kahle ngalolu hlobo lokusebenza. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much.
Sawonga.
Dr. Mears.
Oh, Dr. Mears. Insizwe edlayo
No baba besithanda nathi ukusumkhandlu ukubeka sithi kuyasiphula umoya ukubona izimo njengalezi zenzeka eSouth Africa. So uma sikhuluma ukuthi akufanele ngabe sixoxa lezi indaba zokuwa amabhilidi ngo-2025 eSouth Africa. Siqhamuka kulelo phuzu kethina sokuthi asibambisane nomphakathi nama-professional nama-developers nomasipala nawo bonke ama-government entities ukwenza ukuthi impumelelo nentuthuko le ebasemphakathini ayidali lezi zingozi esizibonayo. Esikushoyo ke ukuthi from umsebenzi esiwenzayo kumele kubanjiswane ngoba uma ubheka le ndima yezokwakha imayelana nanokuthi kuba khona umsebenzi owenziwa ama-professional aqashwa umnikazi we-development. Lawo ma-professional wona ahambisa le nkuthungo kumasipala ukuthi uyobheka ukuthi i-right yini ngaphambi kokuthi kwakhiwe. Noma sekwakhiwa ke kufune umphakathi suqhuquzela ukuthi uthola abantu abanamaphepha okwakha ukuze makwenzeka izimo njengalalezi uyakwazi ukubalandelela usho ukuthi uyawazi umsebenzi wakho njenge-professional ukuthi yini okumele uyenze yini pho ungakwenzanga lokho ngaphambi kokuthi nje uye emaphoyiseni. I think nje i-message esithanda ukuyidlulisa kakhulu ukuthi umphakathi awusondelana nama-ward councillor nabo masipala ukuze lezi zinto njengalezi kwazi ukugwemeka. Ilokho singakusho meya sizimisele ukusebenzisana nomkhandlu weTheku ukwenza sure kule ntuthuko lena sibonayo eThekwini yenzakala ngendlela enesizotha umphakathi ungalimali and kuqhubeke intuthuko lesibonayo enhle yenzakala leli dolobha elikhulu iTheku. Siyabonga.
Siyabonga.
Oh yeah, yes. Yes. You camera we touch it by mistake there. It's totally said.
No, guys, we cannot operate like this. We can't. Hey, we can't be working and you can't trust the people that you are working with. Awungeke guys. Futhi nje ngiyomagalela lapha kwaboshwe. Asisebenza namasela.